Welcome to your personalized deep dive. I've always been kind of skeptical of these life hack trends, but the 5 a.m. miracle has really caught your attention. And I have to admit, I'm curious too. So we're diving into a podcast script, all about it, how meta is that? Analyzing a podcast about waking up early while we're recording a podcast.
Yeah, it is a bit ironic, isn't it? But that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. We're not just looking at the content of the 5 a.m. miracle, but also how it's being presented and the persuasive techniques being used.
Right, it's like a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's get to the heart of it. This script claims there are some serious benefits to waking up early. Things like increased productivity, better mental clarity, even improved sleep quality. I mean, come on. Better sleep by waking up earlier. How does that even work?
I know, it seems counterintuitive, right? But there's actually a lot of science backing up these claims. It all comes down to our circadian rhythm, our body's natural 24-hour sleep-wake cycle.
Okay, so remind me, how does that all work again?
Well, think of it like an internal clock that regulates everything, from hormone production to body temperature. When we consistently disrupt this rhythm, say by staying up late and sleeping in, it throws our bodies off balance. We end up feeling groggy, having trouble focusing, and yes, even experiencing poorer sleep quality.
So by waking up earlier,
Yeah.
and getting a more consistent sleep schedule, we're essentially syncing ourselves back up with our natural rhythms.
Exactly. And when we're in sync, we're more likely to experience those benefits we talked about. Increased energy, sharper focus, and even a more positive mood.
I'm starting to see the appeal, but what really caught my eye in this script was the idea that our brains are actually wired for peak performance in the morning. Something about the prefrontal cortex being more active.
That's right. The prefrontal cortex is the part of our brain responsible for all those higher-level functions. Planning, decision-making, problem-solving. And research shows that it's most active and alert during the first few hours after we wake up.
So if we're trying to tackle a challenging task or make important decisions, we're better off doing it in the morning when our prefrontal cortex is firing on all cylinders.
Precisely. Think of it like this. Your willpower and mental energy are like muscles. They're strongest and most readily available in the morning after a good night's sleep. As the day goes on, those mental muscles get fatigued, making it harder to focus and resist distractions.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But I have to admit, I'm still struggling with the better sleep by waking up earlier idea. It seems backwards.
I understand your skepticism, but think of it this way. By waking up early and exposing yourself to sunlight, you're sending a powerful signal to your body that it's time to be awake and alert. This helps regulate your circadian rhythm, making it easier to fall asleep at a consistent time each night and get a truly restful night's sleep.
So it's less about the specific time you wake up and more about establishing a consistent rhythm that works with your body's natural clock.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're waking up feeling refreshed and energized, ready to tackle the day. Now the script we're diving into highlights 5 key benefits of waking up early. More time for yourself, a boost in productivity and mental clarity, increased discipline, reduced stress and anxiety, and, of course, that improved sleep quality we keep coming back to.
Okay, let's break those down a bit. The more time for yourself part is pretty self-explanatory. I can definitely see how having those quiet hours before the rest of the world wakes up could be a game changer for productivity and just feeling more centered.
Absolutely. Those early morning hours can be incredibly valuable for focusing on your own priorities, whether it's working on a passion project, exercising, or simply enjoying a quiet cup of coffee and some peaceful reflection.
But what about the increased discipline claim? How does waking up early actually boost our willpower?
Well, the script uses a clever analogy. Mental push-ups. Think of it this way. Every time you resist the urge to hit the snooze button and get out of bed when your alarm goes off, you're essentially giving your willpower a mini workout. And just like any muscle, the more you exercise it, the stronger it gets.
I love that. Mental push-ups is such a vivid image.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. So by starting our day with a small act of discipline, we're setting the tone for a more productive and focused mindset throughout the day.
Precisely. It's about building that momentum and establishing a sense of self-mastery. And as you mentioned, waking up early often leads to reduced stress and anxiety. Think about it. You're less likely to feel rushed and overwhelmed if you have those extra hours to ease into your day and tackle things at your own pace.
I can definitely relate to that. But now I'm curious, is the 5 a.m. miracle really about that specific time? Is it a magic number? Or is it more about creating a personalized routine that works for you, regardless of the hour?
That's a great question, and I think that's where the nuance comes in. While the script focuses on 5 a.m., The core principle is really about creating a consistent routine that aligns with your natural rhythms and helps you maximize your potential.
So it's less about the specific time on the clock and more about finding what works best for you.
Exactly. It's about designing a morning routine that sets you up for success, whatever time that might be.
Well, now I'm really intrigued. Let's dive into this routine and see what it's all about.
The script lays out a 6-step morning routine. And while you might not adopt it wholesale, I think there are some gems in here worth exploring.
All right, let's hear it. Step 1. And I have a feeling I know where this is going. No snoozing allowed.
You got it. This is where those mental push-ups come into play. The script even suggests a countdown technique. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up and at 'em. But it also gets into the practicalities, putting your alarm across the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off.
That's actually a trick I've used myself. It definitely works. Okay, what's next?
Step 2 focuses on hydration and movement. Start with a full glass of water, and then get your body moving. Some light stretching. Yoga. Or a quick workout.
But isn't the point of the 5 a.m. miracle to have more time, not cram more into it? I'm already imagining myself hitting snooze just thinking about adding a workout.
I hear you. But even a few minutes of movement can make a world of difference. Think of it as jump-starting your metabolism and waking up your body and mind. It doesn't have to be an intense workout, a brisk walk, some gentle stretches, whatever gets your blood flowing.
All right, I'm willing to give it a try. What's step 3?
This is where things get a little more introspective. Step 3 is all about mindfulness or gratitude, dedicating 5-10 minutes to deep breathing, meditation, or even gratitude journaling.
I'm all for a bit of mindfulness. But early in the morning, isn't that when our brains are supposed to be focused and ready for action?
You'd be surprised. Taking a few moments from mindfulness, especially early in the day, can actually enhance focus and reduce stress. It's like clearing the mental clutter before you start your day. Think about it. You wake up, hydrate, get your body moving, and then take a few minutes to center yourself and cultivate a sense of gratitude. Doesn't that sound like a recipe for a calmer, more productive day?
Okay. You've convinced me. Mindfulness in the morning it is.
Yeah.
What's next?
Step 4 is all about planning your day and setting priorities. The script emphasizes the importance of writing down your top 3 goals for the day, what absolutely needs to get done.
Isn't that what to-do lists are for? I feel like I'm always drowning in to-do lists.
I think the key here is focusing on those top 3 goals, not getting bogged down in a never-ending list of tasks. It's about identifying your most important priorities and giving them your full attention. There's a productivity technique called eating the frog, basically. Tackling your most challenging or dreaded task first thing in the morning. The idea is that once you've eaten the frog, everything else seems easier in comparison.
Eating the frog. I kind of love that. So by focusing on those top 3 goals, and maybe even eating a frog or two, we're setting ourselves up for a more productive and fulfilling day.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your time and energy. And that brings us to step 5, which is dedicated to personal growth. The script suggests using this time to read, listen to an inspiring podcast, or write in a journal. Anything that nourishes your mind and expands your knowledge.
Okay, I have to admit, this step is really appealing to me. I love the idea of starting my day by feeding my mind with something inspiring or educational. It feels like a much better use of those early hours than scrolling through social media.
I agree. It's a powerful way to invest in yourself and set a positive tone for the day. And finally, we come to step 6, which is all about fueling your body with a healthy breakfast.
All right, this one I can definitely get behind. But let's be real. Who has time to cook a gourmet breakfast at 5 a.m.?
The key here is to find what works for you. It doesn't have to be elaborate. A bowl of oatmeal with fruit, a smoothie, even some overnight oats you prepped the night before. The point is to nourish your body with a balanced meal that will give you sustained energy throughout the morning.
That makes sense. So there we have it. The 6-step, 5 a.m. miracle morning routine. Wake up, hydrate, move, meditate, plan, grow, and fuel. It's quite a package. But I have to ask, how realistic is it to stick to such a structured routine every single day? Life happens right. Late nights, early meetings, unexpected challenges. It's not always possible to maintain a perfect routine.
You're absolutely right. The key is to approach this routine as a framework, not a rigid set of rules. It's about finding what works best for you and being flexible when needed.
So it's more about the principles behind the routine than the specific steps themselves.
Exactly. It's about creating a morning ritual that sets you up for success, whatever that looks like for you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But I'm still curious about the practicalities of making this work. The script offers some strategies for overcoming common obstacles.
It does. And some of them are surprisingly simple, like gradually adjusting your sleep schedule. Rather than making a drastic change overnight, if you're used to waking up at 7 a.m., try shifting it to 6.45 for a few days, then 6:30, and so on.
That's a much more manageable approach than trying to jump straight to a 5 a.m. wake-up call.
Right. The script also emphasizes the importance of an early bedtime. No late-night Netflix binges if you want to be up and at 'em with the sun. And it talks about finding your why, reminding yourself of the reasons you're choosing to wake up early in the first place.
So if you're not clear on your why, it's going to be a lot harder to stick with the routine.
Exactly. Whether it's wanting more time for personal projects, feeling more energized and productive throughout the day, or simply starting your day with a sense of calm and purpose, having a clear understanding of your motivations will help you stay committed.
Makes sense. The script also mentions accountability partners and rewards.
Yes. Having someone to check in with and share your progress can be incredibly motivating. And celebrating small wins along the way can help reinforce the positive habits you're building.
But what about those inevitable curveballs life throws our way? Late-night social events, early morning meetings, the occasional sleep-depriving Netflix binge. How do we stay on track when our routine gets disrupted?
That's a great question. The script suggests being flexible and adapting the routine as needed. Maybe you shorten your workout on days when you're running late, or maybe you skip the personal growth time and focus on getting a few extra minutes of sleep. The key is to listen to your body and adjust accordingly.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about finding what works for you and being adaptable when life throws you a curveball.
Exactly. It's about progress, not perfection. And that's something I think we can all strive for, regardless of what time we wake up.
I think that's such an important point. It's not about achieving some mythical level of perfection. It's about finding what works for you and making gradual, sustainable changes.
Absolutely. It's a journey, not a destination. And speaking of journeys, I'm curious, have you ever experimented with your own morning routine? What works for you?
You know, I used to think I was a total night owl. I'd stay up late working, convinced that's when I was most productive. But then I started experimenting with shifting my wake-up time just 15 minutes earlier each day. And to my surprise, I actually found myself feeling more energized and focused throughout the day.
It's amazing how even small adjustments can have a ripple effect, isn't it?
It really is. I'm still not a 5 a.m. riser by any means. But I've found that waking up even an hour earlier gives me that extra time to ease into my day, get my thoughts in order, and tackle a few things before the world demands my attention.
I think that's a great takeaway from this deep dive. It's not about forcing yourself into a rigid schedule, but rather exploring what works best for you and making those incremental changes that lead to a more productive and fulfilling life.
So what does this all mean for our listener who's intrigued by the 5 a.m. miracle, but maybe a little intimidated by the whole concept? I'd say, don't get hung up on the specific time. The real magic lies in understanding the science behind our circadian rhythms, the power of a consistent morning routine, and the importance of finding what works best for you.
It's about creating a morning ritual that sets you up for success, whether you're waking up at 5 a.m. or 7 a.m.
Exactly. And it's a journey of self-discovery. Pay attention to your body's natural rhythms, experiment with different routines, and find what helps you feel your best.
And who knows, you might even discover you're a morning person after all.
Yeah, or maybe you'll find that a 10 a.m. creative burst is your sweet spot. The point is to be open to exploring and finding what works best for you.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today. From the science of circadian rhythms to the practicalities of creating a sustainable morning routine. But here's a final thought for you to ponder. As you embark on your own morning miracle journey, instead of focusing solely on when you wake up, what if you designed your entire day around maximizing your energy and focus, regardless of the clock? That's a fantastic point. It's about understanding your own personal rhythms and creating a schedule that supports your peak performance, whatever time of day that might be.
It's about taking ownership of your day and designing a life that feels energizing and fulfilling. We'd love to hear from you. Have you experimented with early rising or creating your own personalized morning routine? What works for you? Share your discoveries and join the conversation. Until next time, happy waking or sleeping, no judgment here.